I think it's a good deal for Berkshire Hathaway. When you really break it down, the $9.7 billion is 3% of the cash that Berkshire has on hand. So uh, it's funny to say it, but kind of a low stakes deal for Berkshire. I think this deal helps Occidental. They really need to delever, so they're going to use $6.5 billion of that cash to delever, which could help their stock, which then could also help Berkshire's $11 billion stake in Occidental. So I think it's kind of a multi-layered win for Berkshire Hathaway.
What does it say about Warren Buffett's willingness to buy right now when the market is trading at much higher valuations than historically it has been? And I get that most of that is because of the tech industry, but even beyond that, overall valuation is not low.
Yeah, Scarlett, I would say Buffett's inclination to be buying anything is probably low at the moment. Berkshire has not been buying back their own stock, which is up 10% year to date. So their buybacks are essentially nil. They, in their equity portfolio, they've sold about $11 billion net year to date. So you're spot on to say valuations are high, and Berkshire's probably not buying a lot of stuff. I think this was probably just a unique opportunity. The deal valuation is pretty good. The terms are pretty good. So I think this was Berkshire taking advantage of their relationship with Occidental and doing something that could help both versus some sort of statement on wanting to buy more in the market.
All right. Well, on the same day that Berkshire Hathaway spends $10 billion on the petrochemical business, OpenAI, some employees there, sold some stock to private equity at a $500 billion valuation. How does Berkshire Hathaway think about tech? Because if you want to put money to work, there's some big valuations out there in the world of technology, but how do they generally think about tech?
Yeah, Paul, they've generally been tech adverse, right? I think Buffett has tended to invest in things that he has a deep understanding of. He has said it was a mistake to not invest in Amazon sooner, which, call it tech or retail, but he lamented that. Obviously, big investor in Apple, which though he kind of sees as a retail consumer company versus more than tech. So they have very, very little in the way of kind of cutting edge tech plays or AI investments. The investment managers will probably be a little more inclined to do that, and maybe Greg Abel. So Buffett has only got a couple of months left totally at the helm. I'm sure he'll be involved kind of tangentially, but you might see a shift, in the upcoming years towards more tech investments.
I'm so glad you mentioned Greg Abel because this latest purchase of OxyChem, $9.7 billion, you were saying that Berkshire is not making a lot of purchases right now. Is this being spearheaded by Warren Buffett, or is this a Greg Abel call?
So we don't really know. I mean, the press release that came out had a quote from Greg Abel only in it. I would suspect that Greg probably did most of the work on this. Buffett has been saying for a while now that he's stepped back from the day-to-day operations of the company, and Greg is kind of doing a lot of that legwork. I would think on something of this size, even though I just said it was 3% of Berkshire's cash, it's still almost $10 billion, a lot of money. I think Buffett was probably involved, but if I had to guess, I would think Abel probably did a lot of the legwork on this deal.